This is Jeremy with CryoClarity, and in this video we're going to be going over the 3 groove or sulci associated with the heart. Now we have an anterior interventricular groove or sulcus, a posterior interventricular groove or sulcus, and a atrioventricular groove or sulcus, also known as a coronary groove or sulcus. Before we talk about each one specifically, it's important to note that each groove has 2 structures, an arterial structure and a venous structure. And each groove or sulcus, its namesake, tells us where it is and logically makes sense. So to break down the first one, we have the anterior interventricular groove or sulcus. It's anterior because we have a posterior one that we just named, and it's interventricular because it's between, hence inter, the 2 ventricles, interventricular, right and left ventricles respectively. Within this anterior interventricular groove, we have the left anterior descending artery and the great cardiac vein. I'm going to give a mnemonic to help us remember these as well as the ones on the back at the end of the video. So let's go on to the next one. The posterior interventricular groove or sulcus contains the middle cardiac vein as well as the posterior descending artery. Posterior descending artery and the middle cardiac vein. Then we have the atrioventricular groove or sulcus. So we understand why the anterior interventricular groove is named as it is, and that allows us to understand why the posterior interventricular sulcus is named as it is as well. The atrioventricular groove is named that because it exists between the atria and the ventricles, and it's also termed the coronary sulcus because the coronary venous sinus sits here, as well as the circumflex artery. So the circumflex artery and the coronary venous sinus are found within the atrioventricular groove, aka the coronary sulcus, while the posterior descending artery and the middle cardiac vein are found within the posterior interventricular sulcus, and the great cardiac vein and the left anterior descending artery are found within the anterior interventricular groove or sulcus. Now, the mnemonic to remember these is that the large kid is in the front while middle schoolers do PDA in the back. So LG is the abbreviation for large. That tells us left anterior descending artery and great cardiac vein. Middle schoolers tells us that the middle cardiac vein. PDA tells us the posterior descending artery, and in the back tells us that those are found within the posterior interventricular groove. That mnemonic will help us determine where the next 2 structures are.